If you're thinking about getting a home battery, you've probably heard that the battery rebate is changing in 2026. A lot of people are asking whether they've missed the boat, can they still claim the rebate, and is it all still worth it? The short answer is yes, the battery rebate isn't going anywhere, but it is changing, and that is going to affect some of the recommendations and basically what's sensible for you and your situation. So in this video, we're going to go through it all right now, and it's the cheaper home battery rebate changes in 2026. So let's go through some of those changes right now. The STC value of batteries starts dropping twice a year, starting the 1st of May 2026, and then again at the end of the year. The solar rebate continues as it was, dropping once a year on the 1st of January. So basically that is unchanged. The battery rebate will also drop on the 1st of January every year, but it also has a mid-year drop each year until we're done in 2030. And they've also introduced sort of these tiers of rebate that are now applied based on the size of the battery. So 0 to 14 kilowatt hours of battery storage attracts the full and original 100% of the battery rebate. That is quite literally unchanged from the original announcement last year, or from July 1st last year. 14 kilowatt hours to 28 kilowatt hours now only attracts 60%, or a factor of 60% of the STC rebate. So think of this as like your tax thresholds with your income. So, the 0 to 14 kilowatt hours, think of that as like I think it's the first 20 grand that you earn is tax free. That's very much what 0 to 14 kilowatt hours is. The next bracket is applies from 14 kilowatt hours to 28. So if your battery is 20 kilowatt hours, for example, only 6 kilowatt hours of that 20 will be applied at the 60% STC factor, and the first 14 is still at 100% of the original battery rebate. 28 to 50 kilowatt hours is now at a factor of 15% of its original value. So the support for those bigger batteries reduces dramatically by 85%. Above 50 kilowatt hours is unchanged as it was previously. There is just no rebate above 50 kilowatt hours. So look, this structure helps provide rebate to more people and reduces the incentive for oversized systems. And, arguably something like this would have been best off right from the beginning, knowing what we know now. But, hindsight is a beautiful thing. The STC factor explained for our detail-orientated viewers, your battery rebate is based on 3 things. First, your battery's usable capacity in kilowatt hours, the STC factor at the time of installation, and the dollar value of each STC certificate. This is a market-driven price. Now, the installers are all claiming this on the open market, the STC market. However, the homeowner is protected from that when they're getting an upfront discount. They have the option to join and trade their own STCs on the open market at their own risk. That's perfectly fine, legal, and there's no problem. You can still go through your installer and claim your own STCs, but it's a huge headache. You've got to jump through all these hoops, and it's not recommended for anyone. But ultimately, it's a market-driven price. So what it means is the battery size multiplied by the STC factor equals the number of STCs that you're earning from that battery. The number of STCs that you've earned times by the price of the STCs at that time, at that year, whatever it might be, is the rebate value or the discount that you're getting off that system. So that's ultimately how the calculation is made to get to your out-of-pocket price. So if any one of those factors goes down, your rebate goes down. However, the installers fix the price of STCs and wear that risk for you to give you a fixed price upfront discount. So that's just kind of how it's always worked with the solar rebate and how it's worked to date with the battery rebate, and for all intents and purposes, it's worked quite well. So the battery rebate sweet spots, with these changes now, with tiers being introduced, with different sort of values assigned to them, there are sweet spots in this rebate that definitely you want to get your head around. So from 0 to 14 kilowatt hours, it obviously attracts the full rebate. Now, if you're looking at a single Powerwall's 13.5 kilowatt hours of usable capacity. It fits Powerwall to a T. 2 side install modules would be 16 kilowatt hours, which makes really good use of that 2 or 3 Enphase IQ5P battery modules at 15 kilowatt hours. That's just going through PSC Energy's suite of products there. I'm not going to go through the full list of products in the market. That's crazy, but you can see the picture. So with Powerwall, you're getting the full whack of the rebate, no questions asked. With side install and Enphase, you are as well. But on those extra 2 kilowatt hours for a 16 kilowatt hour stack of side install, you're just paying a premium on those extra 2 kilowatt hours at the 60% rebate factor. And for the 1 kilowatt hour with Enphase example, you're just paying a premium on that 1 kilowatt hour. So in the 14 to 28 kilowatt hour range, that's where the 60% rate factor applies. This is quite ideal, very ideal in fact, for 2 Powerwalls in the rebate calculations. 3 to 4 side install modules also works quite well. You're getting the majority of the second tier rebate at 24. You still got a little bit of waste, I guess, because it's not going to the full 28, but still pretty good value. If you went 32, yes, you get the full value of the 28 tier or the 28 kilowatt hour bracket. You're paying a premium for that final 4 kilowatt hours of storage at the final 15% tier. So, you still get significant savings, but, the rebate just affects different products, different battery sizes in different ways. And, the cost ultimately will be reflected in your quote by your installer. 28 to 50 kilowatt hours is minimal rebate, and it's quite literally not a sweet spot at all anymore. Whereas before, it was the sweet spot. Going a full stack, maximizing your rebate was the sweet spot, and it was the maxing out the rebate, maxing out your battery, etc. So very much now you're looking at, for single phase options, Powerwalls are a tremendous option, especially with expansion packs now coming online. You can get, the expansion pack is also eligible for the rebate. So, getting a single phase Powerwall and an expansion would get you your 27 kilowatt hours. That would attract the full, first rebate and maximize the full second tier of that rebate as well. And yeah, quite literally, it just affects different manufacturers differently. Last year, I made a video on SIG Energy, and I used this graph, which I'll recycle now, to just explain that situation. So a traditional battery here, the install time of that traditional battery kind of went up in a linear fashion to the amount of storage that it was. This is wall-mounted batteries where you're hard wiring between the batteries to connect them and parallel the batteries or whatever you're doing. The federal battery rebate went up with it. So the bigger the battery, kind of the install time and the labor costs went up with it. Whereas with a modular battery, the federal battery rebate continues to contribute to that system in a linear fashion, but the install time or the install labor component of that install was very close to the same thing. So it just meant, again, that once you got past a certain threshold, it was just like a little bit more to get a lot more storage, and it just was kind of like the no-brainer situation where you as long as you had a couple of grand up your sleeve, you'd be like, why wouldn't you just take advantage of that rebate and get it all up front now? Because the other thing with the policy was, which kind of works against it in some cases and fueled this fire, was that you can only claim it once. You can't just be conservative and size what you want now and cool, that's fine, and come back in a year or 2 years and get the rebate on the extra storage, you can't. You can only get it once. So that made just people second guess it and thought, yep, you know what? That's worth stretching a little bit further to get a lot more. Let's go ahead and let's go. So is a battery still worth it in 2026? Well, the obvious fact is that there's still a rebate on batteries. This time last year, we didn't even have a battery rebate. So we're still very much ahead of where we were last year with no battery rebate. But is it different to what it was sort of promised to us initially? Yes. It just means we have to be a little more sensible about how much storage you actually need. Otherwise, you're just going to pay a significant premium for it. My advice would be to work out your ROI and payback period and compare that with how long you plan on staying in your home and make some sensible decisions there about how far you want to actually push this and claim your rebate. What I always like to tell clients is to consider the full electrification picture. That is your energy costs, gas bill if you have one. Are you going to electrify some of those appliances and move from gas to electric so that your system can fully serve your energy needs? By extension to that, and it's a little longer conversation, but I factored in fuel costs that are saved when you have an all-electric home and EV. Particularly right now, most people I would think are in the ballpark of spending close to $100 a week, $100 every 10 days or so. There's $5,000 a year right there, skimmed off the top of your income. So, if you can divert that into your own system at home, use your system to charge your vehicle, and you're no longer carrying a fuel bill in your weekly and monthly expenses, that's definitely something to at least consider in your ROI calculations if you're interested or planning to purchase an EV in the future. The potential savings from a VPP will absolutely improve your ROI and are worthwhile factoring into your investment calculations and the bigger picture. But I still would be a little bit reserved. Like, for example, this year I'm coming up to 10 months or so on a VPP, and if all things go well, I'll be looking between $1,500 and $1,800 in credit from my battery on a VPP this year. However, with no energy bill as well, which is really, really good. But quite literally, like, that market is a market as well. It's changing each and every single day. It is impacted by the factors in your local neighborhood, the energy consumption in your local neighborhood, and that can come and go very quickly. So I would do a bit of research on the VPP performance in your area, in your postcode. There are some good calculators online that you can use to make those projections and estimates. But yeah, I would start with energy costs, electrifying your home, getting rid of gas if you've got gas, fuel costs if you're even planning on an EV. If you're not planning an EV, don't do fuel costs. And then maybe factor in a bit of VPP credits as well if you're considering joining a VPP. But yeah, spreading that or presuming that an amount of returns from a VPP is going to be a certain number over 20 years right now, I don't think is like that's a very long time. Who knows what's happening in 20 years, like with the energy market, energy pricing and so forth. So to wrap it up, in summary, the rebate changes are coming in May 2026. The STC factor will drop every 6 months, and larger batteries are getting a far reduced support. The sweet spots are still there in the rules to maximize your value. Small batteries up to 14 kilowatt hours get the full and unchanged rebate. Middle tier batteries 14 to 28 still get really good support, and anything bigger than that gets a lot less. So batteries are still worth it at the right size for the right circumstances. Even with lower rebates when sized correctly, they can still provide a really good ROI whilst giving you energy security and independence. And it's not just saving your energy bill, it's potentially a future fuel bill, as I just mentioned. It's also energy security. Things like that you can't quite put a price on until it starts affecting you. You know, people in metro areas probably don't experience blackouts, anything like that. If it does happen and you're throwing out, you know, stuff in your fridge and you're not able to do your job because you don't have internet and lights and you don't have hot water, like these things affect you as well. So, you know, grid resilience or grid independence is something that you're buying when you're buying a battery, particularly if it's installed by us, because we work really hard to give backup power through the gateway. And yeah, I think it's one of those things that, yes, the calculation is based on an energy bill or a fuel bill, yes, but you know, sometimes there are other things that you just can't put a price on, and that's just keeping your lights on when you need it most. Without any other changes, the program is expected to run through to 2030. So that, in a nutshell, is the battery rebate changes that affect you know, Australia wide in 2026. If you have any questions, check out our website, pscenergy.com.au. We've got a bunch of great resources. If you live in the greater Sydney area, Blue Mountains, Newcastle, Wollongong, Bathurst, we can help you with a solar and battery quote. Feel free to reach out to us on our website or the link below, and we'll be able to help you out with a consultation and quote. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.